Hi, it's Matt from Go Green Auto. So this is just a quick little update video about what I've done with my own personal car. I have been driving the Ioniq 28 kilowatt hour here. I've recently got in this MG ZS EV 42.5 kilowatt hour, and I've been deciding whether I keep that as my personal car or keep my Ioniq, but I really did like the little bit of extra range that car has got. I have been really surprised with this car. A lot of the comments were saying I'll be mad, keep the Ioniq, and because this is a cheaper car, sort of classed as a budget car, I think there's this assumption that it's budget quality, but it really isn't. This is a seriously impressive car. The interior, the fit and finish easily equals the Ioniq. There's very little in this car that I don't like. This has got the later software, so a lot of the bings and the bongs have gone. So it probably does feel much better than the original ones. I've watched the videos of the originals, and I must admit all of those bongs and horn peeps would have really annoyed me, but there's none of that with this. But the fit and finish inside is very, very impressive. The only thing I don't really like about this car, which is a very small issue, is the heating is a manual heating. It doesn't have climate control, and I think with an EV you want climate control. I have had climate control in probably all my cars for the last 15 years or so, but I find with manual heating you can't tell what temperature you've got, so you sort of turn the temperature up, and then you have to wait until it reaches that temperature, and then you find you're too hot, so you turn it down, and you've probably wasted more energy than you needed. Whereas climate control, you leave it on at generally 19.5 degrees. I leave the Ioniq on, and it just maintains that temperature, and probably as a result uses much less electricity. But it's a very minor thing. This has got a serious amount of kit, and everything else is pretty much as good as the Ioniq. There's a couple of little things, but there really isn't much in it. The things that I do like is it's much more spacious, it's a lot more ground clearance, and you sit much higher, being a little sort of SUV style vehicle, and I do like that. I do like not dropping into the vehicle because the Ioniq is low, and being 51 years old, I do favour that higher seating position now. And I do like the panoramic roof. This glass roof does open and tilt as well, which is quite impressive. A lot of modern cars don't do that. So you've got the old-fashioned sunroof as well, so that will be nice in the summer. So yeah, I have been very, very impressed with this car. But then I have been so impressed with the Ioniq. These still are my favourite EV. These just do everything so well, and really underrated. They are just a fantastic electric vehicle. So I had said I would drive that for about 2 weeks to decide. In reality, I knew after about 2 days they really are an impressive EV, and considering financially they're not an awful lot more than these cars, those are so well worth it. They are such a nice vehicle, and of course this is only 10 months old or so, done 4,000 miles, whereas this is 3 years old and has done 78,000 miles. Not that that's an issue because the battery's still at 100% on that. But anyway, I've decided to keep that. So it had meant I was going to sell that, but that is such a good car. We've decided to keep that as well, and instead we're now going to sell our e-Golf, even though we haven't had that very long. So the e-Golf has been a great car, really high quality vehicle, but obviously these are only a 22 kilowatt hour battery. These are only a 28, but they do a lot more range because they're so efficient. So we've decided to do another upgrade, and we're going to sell the e-Golf, and Mel is going to drive the Ioniq now. So maybe at some point in the future, particularly in the summer when I don't necessarily need the full range that it's got, because I can do my weekly trips to London there and back in that on one charge, maybe I will swap back to the Ioniq, and Mel has the M3. We'll see, but that's what we've decided to do. So instead of one of those two cars being on the Go Green Autos website for sale in the new year, instead it will be this e-Golf 22 kilowatt hour.